he puts down that microphone. He's like, yeah, bro, I'm from Berkeley. And with that, welcome back to American Punkcast episode 2. Once again, I am the Ape Nobody, Toadster.
And I'm the Toadster!
That's right. And today we're drinking 805 because I sent my wife to get alcohol when I was watching The Kid, and she made the mistake of getting good stuff. Toad, what are you smoking today? Is that indica or sativa?
It's definitely indica, and it's I think it's an Afghan Kush.
An Afghan Kush. So your time in the military, you didn't have enough of the desert. This is the closest I got to Afghanistan was the Afghan Kush.
The Kush. No, it's good stuff though. It gets you a little tipsy.
A little tipsy. Is that a pre-roll or did you roll that yourself? I was gonna say it looks like a pre-roll.
Well, I got the raw cones. Not sponsored.
That sounds like a fucking porn star. Would you like to watch some little raw paper? Hardcore action today, madame? Oh, why, certainly. That's how people watch porn, right?
That's exactly how I watch it, dude.
I mean, that's the only way. Oh, I'm not doing the picture-in-picture so people can't see my lovely face.
Now we can.
Now we can, and I immediately regret that. Immediately. Oh, no, I got bacon neck. Oh. All right, so episode 2. Before we get into what we're going to be playing today, I think we should discuss potentially doing themes moving on. Like, we could do, like, a whole album one day and just break down every single song of an album. We could do something like Surf Week. We could do something like Ska Week or some shit.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we're not on a regular schedule. Like, we're more than a week.
Right.
So it's like, we're going to record these and we're going to record these, and people who want to come by and watch it, awesome.
I was also thinking it would be rad to give, like, a history lesson day. Like, of just how, because it's like the Kevin Bacon game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you try and make all the bands string together and like
have
relate.
To dress up
it's
like
crazy.
A professor with like tweed patches on my fucking elbows and shit.
Yeah.
Wear my glasses.
We'll get bowler caps
constantly.
Yeah. Speaking of,
second wave scars began in the year. Oh my god.
Yes. Go on, my friend.
You look like somebody that Hagrid used to beat up for money in Hogwarts.
I was, dude, that fucker. Dude, did you hear he died, IRL, the actor?
Yeah, that's sad. And
Rip.
like, did you watch the Harry Potter documentary thing? Like, I didn't, but there's that like clip where he's just like, I won't be around forever, but Hagrid will. And it was just like, oh, it's kind of creepy.
That sucks.
I know, right? I get it, you know.
It doesn't sound like you've been around forever.
Right. Well, you know, maybe he's part of the Illuminati. Maybe he's like Walt Disney. He's like frozen under the Harry Potter land in Florida. They're just waiting for the right time to resurrect.
Yeah.
Now we've pissed off our one viewer who likes Harry Potter.
Which song are we covering today?
Today, we're covering...
What's the first one on our list?
Bands. Would you like to go first? Because I went first last week.
Yeah. You went first? Yeah, it don't matter to me. I enjoyed it either way. So it was so hard. Part of the reason why it took us so long to get another episode out is because I couldn't think of anything. Like,
he's an
not that I couldn't
man.
think. It's like I'm very indecisive.
He picked his bands. He just couldn't figure out what he wanted to wear for the episode.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's like it's like when you have control over the iPod in the car. It's like, what do I play? You know what I mean?
You like, that aux cord you don't want to fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, man, there's so many good options.
Like, what do you mean Fleetwood Mac is not okay? The landslide brought me down, guys. Oh.
No, so I think today I'm gonna go with the more surf, rockabilly trends in the punk scene. The more folky guys, or the more
surf-esque
rockabilly surfs. Yeah, the more inspired by like
for my white shirt. I just realized that
these like guys are
titty tattooed right now.
That's okay. That's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh, do you have
the
tattoos?
first guys are the
you
queers?
Have the hand tattoo.
My hand tattoo?
I know. Do you have any?
Yeah,
other ones?
that's just mainly hand tattoo.
Oh, no, I mean, like tattoos. Or
any other tattoos? Oh, I'm stoned as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, you.
I've got like a little Russian nesting doll. That's like a little dead one.
Yeah.
Got waves on the elbow. Because I used to surf when I was in San Diego. A little Celtic knot shield thing there.
I think we're
that
playing
was my
show
first
and
one.
tell. I got
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings reaction. I thought that at first glance, I thought it was like, is that like tribal? It was like, yeah, the tribe of the
like,
Hobbit.
V for Vendetta, but some people are like, oh, anarchy, bro.
Like, the Volkswagen, like, no, bro. Fuck yeah.
And the Oregon Hills with the moon is the Death Star.
Ooh, I like
Can't really see it, but yeah.
Fucking nerd.
Got a couple of tats. Totally, dude. I'm a total nerd.
Right. I guess we're playing.
That's okay though.
Whip out my titty. All right, so I got a consolidated block because I'm from Santa Cruz, and this is one of those symbols of skate culture. I always love consolidated decks. I always love the art.
Hell yeah.
And I got a little Navy tattoo with the head and the Dixie cup, and it says,
"That's cute.
Rats get fat while good men die." Pretty awesome. And then we're going all out. I got my fucking whole side done.
Oh, nice.
And then I got my
to the phone. Tattoo. Oh, hell yeah.
I got stuff on my legs, but that's too hard to show.
That's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when I'm getting fucked
pretty
missionary,
sexy.
they like to look at those tattoos.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But these guys, the Queers, that was my choice for today, my first band. And the reason being is because I've been in like a huge like ska punk / like surfer rock mood. Like I've literally been listening to the Beach Boys the last couple of weeks. And these guys reminded me, they actually did a cover of the Beach Boys on their Don't Back Down album, which is also a shout out to the Beach Boys. And it's heavily inspired. Like these guys are inspired from like, it's a mixture of like the Beach Boys, which is like the Ramones, and like, you know, the
Charles Manson.
The other guys, like, yeah, Charles Manson.
Hello, Manson. That's cool.
Just like the beach rock, you know. And then it comes into the punk scene. Definitely bled into that with the Ramones. And yeah, it's like they kind of, their first album, they took it and they went with that and ran with it, with that vibe, the very surfer-esque rock. It was very, that's like where the
big
pop
reverb.
Pop punk was basically invented by that sound, dude. Like, right. And very like bubblegum, like poppy.
You can see how it branched out. Like bands like the Buzzcocks, it was more of a poppy rock kind of thing, but it's more accepted in society.
The Dead Milkmen.
Dead Milkmen, even though they took more of a funny approach with certain things. Like, it's funny when you hear them on shit where they shouldn't be, and like, why is Big Lizard in my backyard playing on this like very mainstream thing? I don't think they know who the Dead Milkmen are. Like, really. Right. But that's the
not
cool
only
thing
that,
the surf guys, because they branch out to all sorts of things.
Exactly. Yeah. And
walked all over
the cool thing about these guys is like the Queers, like a lot of people will be like, holy shit, like that's a very offensive, very offensive name you got there. But they were like, their thought process behind the name was, it's like, you know, Gigi Allen, he's very shock and awe value. Punk is shock and awe.
Right.
You know, like, and they stood up for the LGBTQ plus community for years. And this was like a fuck you to like people who used to hate on people for being nerdy or being themselves or, you know, like skating and stuff. And that's a very punk mentality to have, I think. It's just telling the people like against the grain while you're growing up, you know, fuck you.
It's funny how people will just see a name and they'll judge you based off the name without doing any background. Like, there's a Black Flag cover band in San Francisco made up all gay, like, you know, musicians, and they're black, and their name is Black F word.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, I don't want to get flagged.
Right.
But, like, people were like boycotting them. They're like, that's literally what we're owning this. This is like what you guys use against us forever, kind of thing.
And they used to get like picked on in school and shit, and like, you know, back in the late 80s, early 80s, early 90s, it was okay to say things like the F word that we're not saying, and, you know, call somebody out of anger like a queer or something like that because you're strange to them. And that was the norm.
Was widely accepted
in the early
90s, let alone back then. It was crazy.
Right. And so like these guys, they used to get beat up for being nerds and being little skater punks and stuff. Back then it wasn't an easy time for punks and skaters, dude. Well, honestly.
Let's be real. Who's a fan of this genre of music who wasn't like trauma, whether it be through family, school, or both. Like, pretty
Exactly,
much
right?
a common denominator for everyone who's a fan of this kind of shit. Like,
Yeah,
very
and
few
everybody kind of
people-
like from those pools fit into the punk genre.
like very few people's like,
And that's
I
like
grew
where
up with
these
a
guys
trust fund and I love the circle jerks. And like, what? Fuck.
right. Yeah. So with hard times and rough times comes punk.
This is true.
And I think that's something that everybody relates to. And the queers definitely they took that name and they were like, yeah, so what if we're gay? You know, like what if we're like this nerdy shit that you think is gay or whatever? Like, so what? And so they made their name the queers. And it's interesting because like they definitely have that attitude, you know, like fuck the
I'll suck a
world.
dick right now. I
you
don't
know.
care.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll fucking suck dick.
On stage right now. Gigi Allen probably would. Iggy Pop
Probably.
would.
There's some people out there, whatever, dude. Whatever floats your goat, you know, it's
As long as it
2022.
doesn't interrupt the pit, bro.
But yeah, Burger King Queen was off their first album, Grow Up. So that was really, really good. Really good album. And it's the first, I believe it's the first track off the album. And it definitely like hits you fucking hard. It's like a definite good choice for an opener song. You know what I mean?
I'm having an old guy moment. I'm having a nose hair itch the fuck out of my nose right now, and it's like, don't pick your nose on camera, but it's like, ah.
Oh no, Squid Omelet was their first track on the album. I'm a liar.
So what song are you choosing first?
We're choosing Burger King Queen to get the message across.
Excellent.
It's a good one. It's very funny. These guys, they take their lyrics not so seriously, and that's kind of what I like about them. So
I have an ad on my end, so once this ad is over, I'll get to 0.
Oh yeah, let me know.
Damn
When
these
you're on
ads.
zeros, we'll count it down. But man, it's just I can't talk enough about these guys. There's some of my like growing up, I listened to these guys while skating, and like, I was always on the skate park smoking weed with homies or something. You know, like
What was
how
your
it was
preferred
growing up in
method to
Eugene.
smoke weed back in the day? Were you doing an apple a day to keep the doctor away?
I was that-
Were you doing an empty Coke can? Like a
No, I was
meth
that guy that carried the bong in his backpack to school, dude.
Oh, that's ballsy, skating to school with a fucking bong in your bag.
Yeah, oh no, I got in trouble quite often, dude.
I had a friend who did that, and in science class, the teacher thought he was stealing a fucking beaker from the science room, so she pulled it out, and it was a beaker bong, and then she was like, go to the principal's office. Like, she was like so shocked. Like, she just pulled out like a gun, just freaking great.
It's the worst thing in the world. The marijuanas.
Oh my god.
No,
It was
my
funny,
god.
because I used to, like, I had a neighbor who we used to have all sorts of classes together, and he would just put, like, he'd bring the weirdest alcohol, so we just get fucking hammered in class. And he used to put, like, he got, like, blackberry schnapps one day, and he put, like, actual fucking blackberries in it. So I'm fucking drinking this, and, like, I wasn't expecting blackberries to hit me in the back of the throat. So I'm just, like, drinking, spitting out blackberries, and just throwing them over my shoulder at the back of the class. The teacher's like, why are these blackberries back here? Why does it smell like alcohol? Oh,
Oh, fucking dude. That's weird.
imagine that. It must be a fucking leprechaun or some shit.
Hey now.
That wasn't a racial thing towards you, Toad.
No, I know. Darn.
I'm not a potato fucker. You're a potato. Okay, I am at 0.
So give us that good old finger countdown. I loved it last time watching it back.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I turned my. Immediate vibes.
Oh yeah.
I love how the tempo's so easy to find. Too.
Yeah. I love the lyrics.
Lyrics are interesting. Guitar's doing a nice little.
Yeah, he's playing that fucking those scales.
Tiny little fills.
Yeah. And each one of them, it was very Ramones inspired.
Oh, yeah.
Each one of them had like the last name of Queer. Like the singer was Joe Queer.
It just sounds like the singer from the Ramones a little bit.
Right.
Maybe get a little more bass in his voice.
Which, I mean, we were talking about the Retards last episode.
Yeah.
Same thing. It was Joe Retard or Jay Retard, and I mean, and you know,
Now it's
each one of the ones. Yeah. Each one of those guys from the Retards' last name was Retard because it's like a play on the Ramones.
This is like a song that I could see being played at a dance hall back then, and people not knowing what the fuck's going on, and just like dancing, like not even realizing what they're going at.
One of those Back to the Future moments. Hey man, you gotta listen to this.
They ain't ready for it.
Yeah.
Even the appearance of the band too, they had kind of a clean cut look. They didn't kind of have that Beach Boys look when they were on stage back then. So they kind of personified that in many ways.
Right.
If I remember correctly, they used to wear that Canadian tuxedo with the denim.
Yeah. And he's just riding that drummer's riding that cymbal like the whole song. Yeah.
Like last week when we were talking about from Adolescence, how he was doing those very clean cymbal taps.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very classic.
Very Beachy Boys. Yeah.
But
that's just
said Beastie
Did
Boys.
I say it?
Yeah.
Did I? I thought I said Beach Boys.
Planetary. I was like, what the fuck?
Woo! Planetary.
Fuck yeah, bro. It's funny because
man.
the bands that I picked will fit very well into this.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's very of the time. Like you could play that for somebody, and they'd probably be like, "Oh, is this the '60s or '70s?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, actually, this was like the '90s, dude. This was 1990 that album came out, man.
Right, which is funny because they're totally incorporating that whole surf vibe thing that was around during that time. It's one of those things where you got somebody who didn't know any better and you played it for them. They'd be like, "Well, when the fuck was this?" It's a time machine. Kind of
exactly. Right, and I dig it. It's a good vibe. Like now that the weather's changing, I feel like it's a good time of year too. That's my musical tastes change with the weather. I think too.
To pour pumpkin spice. Put away your J retard. And grab
pumpkin spice.
The quiz.
The quiz. Yeah. It's great though. Like I used to jam like with my iPod. Right. And just skate all day.
I love how every single band name you've had so far
has been something offensive.
Very offended. Like Negro Terror, the retards. Now I love it. It's actually awesome.
And now, no. Wait for dying fetus.
Day glow abortions.
The next is the coat hangers. Don't worry.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get to them. They're fucking awesome. So yeah. So I don't know about you, but when I hear this song, I think of like those movies where they're at like those diners with those girls with the roller skates. Not like Sonic, but like the actual ones. Like you would see it like the beginning of like Footloose. We don't like dancing in this town, but the only thing we hate worse is the queers.
And they're like, what, dude?
What the fuck did you just play?
Like Buddy Holly type of shit is what I think of, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like some Beatles like pop. They're just like with their dorky haircuts. Just...
Well, they didn't die in a plane crash.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
Next is Bye Miss American Pie.
But they also had like a very Ramonesy attitude. Like they were like the guys that nobody in the scene too. Like Joe Queer, he used to have like this punk magazine he would publish once a month. And it was literally like how to dress like a punk. And not with Doc Martens. Okay, you need stonewashed jeans and the ripped knees, and you need Converse, black and white Converse, just like Joey Ramone.
Let me tell you how to wear your nonconformist uniform.
Yeah, yeah. Right. It was ridiculous, and all the punks were like, "This is stupid," and he was like, "No, fuck you," you know. Like, I don't want to go to this party tonight because there's gonna be assholes there tonight that don't like my ideas. That was like his mentality on it. Like
What
A lot of
stance to
people
take.
dislike Joe Queer.
Well, you know, you mean Jay? Oh, you're talking about Joe. For some reason, I thought you were talking about Jay
Joe
Retard.
Queer, yeah,
But,
from
yeah,
the Queers.
but he
But I
probably
feel
went
like
about
Joe
it.
or Jay
could-
Retard was probably the same
I was
mentality.
gonna say, like, from the documentary of Jay Retard, it seems like a lot
Yeah.
of people either love the guy or hate the guy, and it's probably the same thing with Joe
Yeah.
Queer from the band.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good
Right.
song, man.
And
I
that's
like how
that's actually like
the bass was kind of hard to pick up, but it was
it
actually
was
a pretty cool
very
line.
very
It's like a little
crunchy
walking.
bass too. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. A lot of almost static noise to it.
Right. It's like, I'm
It's
just gonna
nice.
hit
I liked it.
low E and nothing else.
Yeah.
You're gonna like
Right.
it.
And I'm going to go against the grain with my next song though, but it's going to be from the Queers, but not the same album.
How many pieces were in the Queers? Was it a 3-piece band? Was it a 4-piece band?
It was originally 3-piece, and over the years it's changed a lot. Like they don't even have the same drummer every tour. Like they
Right.
get a new drummer basically to learn the set and just come on. Or like my homie Dustin, he's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he used to drum for like a couple other bands in Oklahoma, and whenever the Queers go through, like Joe hits him up and is like, yo, let's drum. Or
Nice.
you know, like this is the songs, learn the set, and then we'll just play it live.
Because that
And,
song, Burger King
it's cool.
Queen, I was so expecting a soloist to come in there because it, like, the guitarist felt like a rhythm guitarist for that song.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, he had
sure.
some riffs, he had some licks thrown into that basic thing, but he was almost acting like a bass player because he was keeping
Right.
the tempo of the song. Because the bass player was there, he was just a little hard to pick up. Like every now and then, I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
the bass.
that
right
could be
there.
recording too.
It definitely could be.
Those DIY recordings, you know, you can't always pick up the certain instruments.
This is true. This is true. So, what is your second song from?
Second
The
song is going to
Queers?
be one of their more famous ones that I feel like everybody's almost heard if you're in the punk scene or if you're a skater. It's called "See You Later, Fuckface," and it's definitely like fuck you song. You know, it's angsty, it's very edgy, but it's like it's a very queer song. But like I was saying, like they're either loved or hated, you know, in the scene, and
Speaking of
these
hated,
guys kind of knew
fuck
that.
you, Wendy's and your ads. I don't want to buy a fucking Baconator. I want to listen to the Queers, my friends.
But you just listened to a song about Burger King.
That's right. You listen to a song
It
about
knows.
us.
It knows.
These fucking pieces of shit.
We're gonna have to get Jello on the fucking show. Talk about fucking tinfoil hat shit.
I mean, poor Jello. You probably or throat cancer.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Oh,
All right,
man.
let me
But
know.
anyway, yeah, "See You Later, Fuckface" is definitely like a fuck you. You know, this is like an amped song. It's very high energy, very punk with the 2-minute section. You know, it's only about 2 minutes long. You know, that's a very that's a punk trope. You know, play it fast, play it short, and get off stage and go
Get the
drink
fuck
some
out of
beers.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
My drug dealer's
So,
about to leave. I gotta get off stage.
All right. Without
right.
further ado, the quiz. See you later,
quiz.
Fuckface.
Okay,
I count it away.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. Like my countdown. Numbers a little more involved on this one.
There's that bass.
That song.
And the
you're in,
clapping.
Like sophomore year, you're like, yes! Both songs had classic music tropes, clapping and the.
See you later, fuckface. See you
feels like it could have came out in the early 2010s. It would have still been relevant.
Yeah.
Nice bands that were trying to hit on the punk genre and cover this. Seems like it would have fit perfectly with a lot of them.
Right.
Fuck you. See you later, fuck face. See you later, fuck face. We hate you. See you later, fuck face. See you later, fuck face. See you in the funny pages. Fuck you. See you later, fuck face. See you later, fuck face. We hate you. We hate you. We hate you tonight.
The great thing is old people in 30 years going to be listening to this kind of shit in their retirement home. And classic music radio, I'll be like, next on NPR's Breath of Fresh Air, we have the quiz with See You Later Fuckface.
This is Toadster Strudel with KPPX. You're listening to the supple sounds of the rain on your weekly 10:30 hour. And next we have the Queers.
Here on Toadster Strudel Radio, the beats are warm and the toad is full of cream.
There's a toad in the hole.
FCC. Where are you? Oh my God.
Oh, jeez. But no, they're great.
I love how
yeah, very inspired by
doesn't
you
feel
can
like
hear
the
those
same band.
Ramonesy.
If you don't know it's the same band, you would not have guessed that.
Right. And that first album, Grow Up, that came out in the 90s, I think. Yeah, 1990. And then Pleasant Screams, that was See You Later Fuckface. It came off on that album was 2002, so it was a huge gap.
Between that
That's
gap,
12
was there
years.
a major change in the band?
Yeah,
singer?
yeah, actually. Mm-hmm.
'Cause I
Yeah,
was
the
gonna
lead singer is
say-
the
Oh, go ahead.
the lead singer is the only persistent band member now, I think. But yeah, they went through a lot of lineups with the original three guys, and I think in the 90s, it was 96, they did Don't Back Down, which was it was an homage to the Beach Boys and the Ramones.
Back to their
It was like
roots
them.
of when
It was like
they
their
were.
love letter, and yeah, and that it was the original three members in '96 with that one. So that was
Nice.
their first album since Grow Up. It was a huge 6 year gap,
I
that
was
they
gonna
were
say,
not talking
it
and whatnot.
almost felt like when the Descendents lost Milo when he went to college, and then they formed All, where it's
Oh yeah,
same band. The drummer went off to Black Flag, and the bassist
Yeah.
was an old man. I think
Right.
I think he went. I forget where he went. Or he might have stopped altogether. I don't really remember his story. I just remember he was.
I think
great.
he did. Yeah,
But it's same band, same core principles, but completely different sound between Descendants and All. Just kind of like the Queers during their first album to where we're here with See You Later Fuckface.
yeah, exactly. And it definitely it's interesting because you can hear almost the more the better audio quality too.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say.
The bass is actually more
And you can
audible.
actually hear the bass, yeah. But it's definitely it's definitely still the Queers, and I think that's what is fun about it and great about them.
Oh yeah, they're
Is
showing
even
depth
though
by
through the
doing
change
that.
ups, Joe
There's some
Queer, you
bands
could
that just
tell it's Joe.
always sound the same, no matter what.
Right.
How often have you heard a band?
And with this genre, it's with that genre though, it's like the Ramones. It's like Ramones created their own genre of punk, but it was more beach punk,
right?
And I think
But a
a
different
lot of
version
other bands took that and made their own shit. And what thing the Queers did was keep it kind of back to the classics.
right,
They kept it that way. It was more pure
right.
punk.
Because when you talk about surf punk, when you talk about skate punk,
Mhm.
it branches off so many ways. You have this kind of
Right.
stuff, you have the Ramones kind of stuff, then you have the JFA kind of stuff, and you have the Adolescents kind of stuff, where
Yeah.
it's a progression to harder and harder and harder stuff. And then you
The
get the
Bad
stuff that's
Brains and-
the Bad Brains, and then you get stuff like Suicidal Tendencies, which fits into that skate slash skirt skate and
Right.
surfs culture, and it's completely different from the elements that from those other bands.
Shit,
but
we
it's
could
still
even
same
go with
house.
Offspring.
Oh, we totally could.
They're your favorite band. You were telling me the other day.
Oh, bro, when Pretty Fly for a White Guy
No.
came on TRL and Carson Daly fucking announced him, changed my life, bro.
They opened for Alice Jades.
Bro, when they sang X-Nail the Hombre Moda, I was like, I smoke pot. He gets me. I mean, no.
Jesus. Why are you atting me, bro?
What, do you feel attacked? Was that too close to home?
Nah.
Like, I also posted a
No,
thing
no.
on fucking Twitter of like cartoon Bilbo smoking a joint and Gandalf suddenly appearing. Like, that shit was dank, apparently. That hit too
It's
close
so
to home
good.
for you, too.
So good. A little too close. A little too
A
close.
little too close, bro. So, for the next one, I think we should transition into. I think we should roll
Mhm.
into the first one of my picks because I feel like it
Yeah.
transitions very well.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
I have chosen
Definitely.
the Descendants. And I personally love the Descendants. I
Me too. So
I-
good.
They have some skate features. I love the lyrics. The singer went
Mhm.
off to college to become a microbiologist or chemist or some crazy shit that I'm not smart enough to comprehend. And
Yeah.
when he left, the band formed all. The drummer went off to Black Flag to play with Henry Rollins to do his
And they-
spoken word shit about
Descendants,
assault and slug.
They went on a huge hiatus.
Oh yeah.
Like people just never heard of them until like the early 2000s again, right?
Yeah.
Was it? Or is
They
it like
have
late
some
90s,
songs that
early
are
2000s?
widely covered and nobody knows who the fuck they are. A
Right.
good example is Hope from this album, which
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about today because it's so commercialized.
Great
You get
album.
bands like Sublime who covered it and like, oh, this is my favorite Sublime song. It's like, the Descendants wrote this. What the hell? Like, shut up.
Right.
Oh, fun caveat. That was Bradley from the Sublime's last song he played on stage before he died was Hope. So, little weird caveat there. But anyway, we're going to start with Suburban Home by the Descendants. So, fucking ads, bro. I'm going to mute it. I'm going to let this ad until I can skip it.
So what's this is another band that's very much like the Queers almost because they're just nerdy average Joe Schmoes that were lanky and nerdy and they just looked like your average D&D players, like
Right?
they just didn't give a fuck either, but they were getting picked on. And another way that like I feel like when you're an adolescent kid, you deal with stress and shit is you take it out in music, like you relate to the music, and they just wrote their heart out back then. And it was just so powerful with Milo's vocals backing it. Like,
yeah. Milo's great.
it's a
singer.
great combination.
And they had a very strong
Yeah.
bass player. His name's escaping me, but he was older. He was significantly older than the rest of the band. The rest of the band were in,
Right.
like the teens. This guy was like in his early 30s, and it shows. His musicianship is so good. Like every single bass line,
Right.
you'll see it a lot during Bikeage, which is the second song I picked today. Suburban Home, it's more guitar heavy, but a nice thing about this band is it also is from the same vein of the Adolescents that we listened in the first one. It's the same core principles of being an angsty kid, having issues like with women, having issues with parents, having issues with life in general, and jacking
Yeah.
off. The pinnacles of our life. Like how Islam has the
Right.
5 pillars. Those are the 5 pillars of skate punk back in the day. So
Right.
whenever you're ready, Toadster, let me know and I'll start our count off.
Oh, let me hear it. Let me hear that countdown.
We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and play.
To be stereotyped. I want to be classified.
Such a good start.
I wanna be stereotyped. I wanna be classified.
That first line that says, I want a fake clone. For the longest time, I thought he was saying, I want to be a clone. It's either way.
I wanna be masochistic. I wanna be sadistic. I wanna be clone. I wanna suburban home.
I can change that.
Yeah.
I don't want no hippie man.
very well
I
by
wanna
the
have
guitar.
just like Mom and Dad. I wanna be stereotyped. I wanna be classified. I wanna be masochistic.
Yeah, Bill's drumming is just insane. He puts his whole fucking heart into that shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's just banging on that shit. He's such a big man too. Like he's such a big guy. If you see him live today, he's like a fucking gorilla towering over those drums.
You
He's
get the
fucking
guy from Negro Terror, the singer. You put him behind a
Yeah.
drum set. That's him. He's a
that would
big
be
boy.
Phil. Yeah, Phil Stevenson's just fucking gigantic,
I want
dude.
to be stereotyped. I want to be classified.
So the cool thing about this band is every transition, whether it be lyrically or song-wise, like, going to the next thing, you'll notice it's always a different instrument that leads into that transition. The
Right.
bass will have a really complex bass line, and then it'll break off into a little mini solo, and then it will go to the next stanza. Or you'll have the guitar,
Yeah.
like, he'll do a step-down pattern when that song changes tempo. And like you were saying with the drummer, that dude's beating his fucking balls over there. He's going as
Yeah.
hard as he fucking can the
And
entire thing.
if I'm not mistaken, Bill went through a brain surgery because they found a cyst in the back of his brain,
I remember
right?
hearing about that.
And he ended up having the cyst removed, and they were worried that he might not be able to drum ever again. But then he said, like, after the surgery, he's like, man, I've never felt greater. And he actually, they say,
So it
like,
was
he
all that
came back just
pressure.
better than ever, like, just better than ever. And he was actually like, just felt great. It was crazy.
Dude,
It was
that's
like,
what happens when you listen to too much
It's just
Henry
insane.
Rollins spoken word. You'll get a cyst on your brain.
Oh, Henry.
Oh, Henry. Like, when we cover Black Flag, there's so much to say about Henry
One day.
Rollins. Musically,
Film. Like his film career.
I was going to say, like, how do I say actor-wise? Like, he's got some real interesting... You play a lot of racist, Henry. What?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, man. So,
He's like, because I know him.
You know them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring this back. Okay, so our second song, Bikeage. And this really fits into the adolescence that we talked about last week with the whole angsty thing. Like this whole fucking song, or you could actually argue the whole fucking album is about, women and like their relationships with all that. Like this one's about a girl who's kind of into drugs and she goes after dudes who are all about the drugs. Like you'll see that it's a recurring theme on this one, like Kabuki Girl with fucking
Yeah.
Bikeage, Hope. Like it can go on. It goes from like that to being like, I don't want to be old to like, I want to be like my parents. I want a fucking M16. Like it's like, Wayne, I don't know.
So
where we're
crazy.
going.
Complete flip.
It's pretty great. And the funny thing is with the album art, let me pull this over. The album art, that little cartoon guy you see right there, he's in every single album. It's a different rendition of him. Like, I don't want to be old. It's him as a baby.
Yeah,
Milo goes
it's
to
always
college.
Milo.
Yeah, it's him with the
Yeah,
bow
it's little
tie.
Milo.
Oh, little Milo, you piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't want to grow up, and it's
He
like
never
him as a
gets
baby.
contacts, and he's got glasses since he's a baby.
Yeah.
Milo's going through it. All right, Toad, let me know when you're there, and then we will.
I am there.
Okay.
We're ready to fucking rock it.
3, 2, 1, go. Immediately, very interesting intro with that guitar. The bass line, I love the bass line in this song.
Running out of time again. Where did you go wrong this time? When your problems overwhelm you, go get drunk, it's party time. Take a Quaalude, relax your mind, relax your body too. Run from your problem, but you'll never
Reality.
get away. No one loves you, and you wonder why. Sitting there with your mouth full of beer, your eyes aflame, face is red. Who's gonna pick you up and use you for tonight?
Basic rock beat the drum, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just going
Yeah.
into those fills in between there. While the bass is doing this very
When you're on the
complex
streets with a needle in your arm, selling your body for another fix, who's gonna pick you up and take you home with them tonight?
And those walks with the bass, man.
the other day, and I realized the Cohen Hayner's bassist reminds me a lot of the bassist from the Descendents and T.S.O.L.
Yeah. With the two fingers.
but in fact, it was him, and he did fuck her. No, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh jeez, it's like the total like friend zone music, dude.
Oh, but it's so funny because like Hope is so funny in regards to this too. Because I wonder if all these songs are about the same person.
Yeah.
Because Hope's like, "I'll take you back, I don't care," and then the other part of the song is like, "Go fuck yourself, I don't care. Go think about his
Right.
cock." And like, what? That was,
Yeah.
that was a
Well,
big
that's the
turnaround.
thing too. I think they all brought songs to the table. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's like a concoction of all their own lyrics. It was one of those
melting
bands that they're
pot.
very open.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just, you know, Milo writing the tunes
Oh,
or,
definitely
or
not.
Bill.
Like
you know,
Bill
it was
wrote
all of
Kabuki
them.
Girl because he was a fisherman.
Yeah.
And then he was just
Yeah.
like, "I don't need women. If I want that same feeling, I'll just smell fish on my boat." And you're like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
Bill, what the fuck?"
It's so good though.
Face is white, hair is black. She'll probably stab me in the back. That's a chance I'm gonna take. And like, I can relate to that, bud.
Oh, geez.
Good fucking shit. So yeah, that was my first band, The Descendants. And yeah, like that's one of those albums when you are getting into music.
Mhm.
It's one of those bands that can really inspire you to like want to become a better bass player. Because I played the
Yeah.
bass and I'm transitioning more into guitar nowadays, and it's just so cool how in a genre that's supposed to be so simplified and it's told from when you barely first start listening to music, like, oh yeah, punk shit is boring, it's power chords, it's like very lame. It's like, no, it's actually incredibly complex. And every song we listen to today,
Yeah.
very lyrically interesting. Like, it feels
Right.
like Bad Religion could have written some of these songs. It's like almost to that level with the degree of burns and the degree of difficulty and
And-
like not boring.
If anybody listening's interested, we are gonna have that playlist up
Right.
of all these bands that just the songs. We're gonna have a playlist of songs, I think,
Just comparing lyrically
that we've been
like,
picking. And yeah, go back, listen to them, and listen. Like Google the lyrics for each song, and you'll probably get a laugh out of these ones from this whole episode. Like, because they're all like, they're just either really wacky or they're just, I don't know. It's like it's like a desperate person writing them.
but just comparing that to
Almost.
music that's popular today, like take the lyrics of Bikeage and
Right.
compare that to Wet Ass Pussy or something that's like
Mhm.
critically acclaimed, like big song, and like this song is empty.
Right.
Like, there's nothing here. But there's like, oh, I
Yeah.
can relate to this. And that's the funny thing about punk music. It's like people think you have to grow up a certain way or you have to have some kind of thing to elements, but there's so many elements to it. Anyone from any walk of life can really relate to a lot of these songs if they gave it a fucking
Right.
chance.
Yeah.
Like, the closest they'll
Exactly.
get is fucking No Doubt.
Hey, which was their first
Yeah,
album.
they're
was
not
pretty
bad, but
decent,
they're
I
one of
thought.
those more like acceptable, publicly
Yeah.
bands, just like NoFX to a degree. Or
Yeah.
Offspring, which you could say has some punkish elements, some ska elements too. Every song on one of their albums has some ska elements. So, Toad,
Right.
did you want to roll into the next band on your list? And the
Yes,
next
yes,
album?
yes. Well, next segment.
Segment.
I think it's going to take more of a darker turn, though.
Oh no!
With both our band choices.
What are you talking? You telling me fucking abolish government isn't a feel good song?
Well, I mean, I guess mine's more dark. It's perfect for the spooky season we're getting into, at least.
What? I mean, you're gonna be
they're-
TSO Code Blue. We're gonna talk about raping dead people.
Whoa.
Whoa.
If I'm not mistaken, that's about somebody else who got caught doing that or something. They wrote it about like somebody else, not actually TSOL doing that.
Right. I would hope not.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get.
Right.
I don't know how they do it at Huntington Beach.
No, the next band is the Cramps, though, dude. They're a huge influence in like my life too. Like, I love spooky horror shit, and like punk was like you can get that shit with punk too.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you look at the Misfits, man. Like
Oh.
that's a huge like
You could argue
that's
that
like the
they
gateway
started-
drug to punk.
Yeah, you could argue that they started like spooky punk.
Yeah, the
Whatever
spooky
fucking
horror punk.
or, yeah, but then you get like
But-
the weird like subcultures of that where you get like the horror pops
Yeah.
and the weird rockabilly like thing. This is
Yeah.
great rockabilly.
And definitely a rockabilly American, more southern punk, I would
Didn't
say,
they
but
inspire
they're
ICP
actually
with
from New
that
York.
face paint?
And they were actually kind of like, I would say more like in the look they were more gothic.
Oh yeah.
or emo-esque.
Well,
Especially
everything
with
from their
Lux, the
stage
singer.
appearance to like their albums, like "Die Die
Yeah,
My Darling" with the cup and the skull.
yeah.
Every fucking
Songs
teenager
the
girl had
Lord
the shirt
taught
of.
us.
Yeah, that was one of those hot topic shirts. People would just walk around with the skull or that like "Die Die My Darling" album cover. They wouldn't even
Yeah.
listen to the band. They're like, well, I like Zero Skate Decks. I'm like, that's not Zero, bro.
Ridiculous. No, Cramps are great, and it was playing off that like more surfer skate punk stuff with the Queers and their riffs of the early like Ramones and even earlier Beach Boys,
Right?
those type of like licks and riffs.
second.
I mean, the, oh yeah.
Baby's going to sleep. I got a second night.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He returns. He returns.
Well,
Triumphant and high. Eating
I got the munchies.
chimichangas.
So I got some crackers.
Ooh. Those are always good. What songs from the Cramps were you thinking of today, sir?
Off their first album, there's a song called Garbage Man.
Love it. It's a good song.
It's one of my favorites, man.
I was going to give you some shit when you were like, they inspired me. I was like, to be a garbage man?
Hell yeah, dude.
I picked my occupation based off of punk songs.
Hey, you're not punk rock, you punk. I'm the garbage man.
You're not punk. I went to a donkey show because of RU36, and I hated it.
But
that'll be another band.
Garbage Man is awesome. I love the all the riffs these guys bring to the table, like with Ivy and her beach rock fucking guitar playing, and sometimes she played bass, but she was mainly a fucking guitar player. They were just wild though. It was a great combo, and I think Lux, he ended up dying in like 2009 or some shit from some like wacky fucking heart issue or some shit. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna find it though. I'll find it.
I'm trying to remember like how that
aortic dissection.
So the main fucking artery in his body, the biggest artery in your body, had an obstruction or some shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he was probably having like all sorts of discomfort, especially playing on stage when you have a condition like that. Must fucking suck ass, especially when you're in an energetic band.
Yeah,
and you have fans that want to party all night with you, do cocaine and stuff. It's like, ugh.
So since that death, they haven't even been around, obviously. There's nobody that can like replace the two.
Yeah, when you lose a big part of your band, it's hard to recover, and when you do recover, it's not always a success. It's like, it's kind of.
And it was started from those two. It was always Lux and Poison Ivy that people wanted to see, and like, it was their wacky lyrics and their look. Like they were very eccentric looking. Like you look at them, and they're always wearing like leather, and Lux interior is wearing fucking leather pants with fucking like high heels on and shit, and she's like always looking like she's like some, like, I don't know, she had like a beehive curly head of hair, like a 50s 60s
the beehive
like
style.
rock,
like a
beehive style,
Simpson, but
it was weird. Yeah, it was
weird.
Very awkward.
But it worked. It fit the aesthetic.
They mixed that with the psychobilly sound, and I think it just kind of worked. And there's a huge discussion over who started that saying psychobilly, and like some people say it was Johnny Cash who wrote that into his lyrics, but it was like a year before Johnny mentioned it. The Cramps had some stuff.
So silly.
It was weird. So like,
who gives a shit?
Right. But it's like it's funny because like these guys inspired a lot of people. Even Johnny Cash liked them.
Right. Well, Johnny Cash had some pretty dark songs, and he went through a lot of shit with his life. I don't know if you saw the Johnny Cash movie, but like, growing up, a lot of trauma. So I wouldn't be surprised if he, got down to some Cramps every now and again.
Hell yeah.
So whenever you're ready, Mr. Toad.
Let's give us that countdown, dude. Garbage Man.
3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
Is there a truck?
Yes. Love it already. Very country-esque.
Yeah.
I can see
He
why
even
Johnny
mentions
likes
that.
it.
He even mentions that in the lyrics.
Got some twang to his voice, too.
Yeah.
Think Garbage Men on their roof fucking rock this.
Hell yeah. I would. And then there's fucking Poison Ivy coming out with that.
Super distorted.
I love it.
Back when distortion was not, as widely used as it is now in this effect.
Yeah.
The first time he played this in front of people, they're like, oh god, that Christian is.
One half hillbilly, one half punk. I love that.
Love it. It's a good combination.
Yeah. That's what he just said.
This reminds me of a
The hottest thing from the north to come out of the south. He's like owning it. He's like, yeah, we're in the north, but we sound like we're southern. You know?
We're in the north, but we got a dip it. We don't give a fuck. This reminds me of a better, harder version of the Trash Man. Those guys who did Bird is the Word,
Yeah.
Like the lyrics, I mean, the vocals kind of remind me
Yeah.
of that. That bass line.
Very
That
60s
guitar.
garage rock.
Very,
Bow, 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 bow.
very Ring of Fire, like, country guitar.
Yeah. And then there's that surf.
There's Tremora. I like how he didn't pick up a different guitar with different tuning. He got the same tuning. He played it. Maybe an effects
Yeah.
pedal for that, reverb to get that sound, but same guitar. And that drum is so effective in the song.
Yeah. Very good.
Oh yeah. So it's
It gets you
funny
going.
how that drum, that bass drum is so effective.
Very primitive.
It's in our name. We're Firestone Complete Auto Care.
That's Saul.
Shut up, Firestone
Hell yeah.
Tires. Nobody gives a shit about Firestone Tires. You killed people in the 90s. But anyway, getting back to the drum, like that bass drum is just like it's not fast. It's so consistent though. It's a very like good, like you were saying, it's tribal. It's a good like head banging beat. It reminds me
Everybody
of like
can
the
get
drumming
behind it.
from like AC/DC, like the dirty deeds done
Yeah.
cheap. It's like that same
Very
fucking
similar.
rhythm just going the whole time, and then it's like it appeals to people who blue collar. It appeals to people who hate their job. It appeals to a lot of
Yeah.
things in there too. Like that's a
And then and on top of it, they're like, I'm the fucking trash can of this place. Like, I'm the garbage man. You can't fuck with me.
I deal with shit all day.
Yeah.
Good
But it's great. Like it's one of those that just like gets you going in the morning,
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if that doesn't get you going in the morning, I don't know what will, dude.
Cocaine,
Yeah. Or sniffing salts, according to our friend Silver.
Silver 6. stop abusing sniffing salts. We worry.
And everybody, we're having a campaign to help our friend Silver Six. If you send it to my bank account, you can donate money to help him.
For every $1 donated, I will slap Silver Six. In the location of your choosing.
They were gaining a lot of like rep in the early 80s and like late 70s, early 80s. And they were like touring with people like big name people. Whenever like the Clash went on their tour with the Who, they opened for them. You know, like they were going on tour with these bigger people in the punk scene at around the time in the 70s and 80s, but they weren't like widely known. And I think in the Northwest punk scene, I know they were huge. Like Nirvana hung out with them and shit. And like a lot of those people,
which is funny because
like the Northwestern scene.
Kurt's musical interest was very country-esque. Like he was a big fan of Lead Belly, so that would totally lead into why he was a big fan of the Cramps. Like I could totally see his affinity for that kind of music lead him down the road of the Cramps. And it's funny how we were saying how you said it was like the biggest northern thing in the South. Like I could see people from like southern states not being a fan of the Misfits because of the direction they went, but totally be all in on the Cramps because they're kind of speaking to them. They're taking the guitars from the popular song, like the style of guitar. They're integrating a little bit of surf culture that they might experience with bands, like you were saying earlier, the Beach Boys. I almost said Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys, we're fucking Mojo. Hey, great on Mojo. On the water.
Beastie Boys wrote "Bird is the Word." Didn't you know?
You just don't even know, bro. You don't even know. So moving
for people listening, trying to get a fucking history lesson, the Beastie Boys did not write "Surfing Birds." Also,
for those of you for your history lesson, like I've been smoking a lot and drinking a little bit. Toad's been smoking and drinking a little. We've a little bit of the partaking, so maybe take what we're saying with a grain of salt.
Yes.
Indeed. So, okay, moving on to the second song of the Cramps. What was
the second song? Like I was saying, they were starting to get more reputation, but they hadn't come out with much because there was a lot of lineup issues and whatnot. And Ivy and Lux were fighting. This is all the drama shit. And then they got back together. Then they got married and this and that. So they just ended up in the 80s. They put out like
so you're telling me they had to fuck it.
It's out. Like, yeah, basically. They put out their compilation album of like already released popular hits, you know, and then some like other hits that weren't widely known, or it was like their B-side stuff, you know, and they kind of redid it and made it a little better with the Off the Bone album. But it's their compilation album. But Domino was going to be the next choice because it's just, it's one of those, like when you're driving down the fucking highway, you just feel like a badass while listening to this song. If you're, you know, like it's,
so once you get out of your garbage truck from your 9 to 5 and you get on the highway to go back home, don't change that tune. Keep it on the Cramps.
Yeah, keep it on the Cramps. Don't listen to Drug Train.
Or do. I'm not going to judge you.
Or do, yeah. But no, it's great. And they this Off the Bone album was rad because it also incorporated like some of their other inspirations that they covered. Like they did cover Surfing Birds, and they did cover those albums like other stuff.
Said, fuck it, and they just did every single thing that they wanted to do, but just didn't fit on any other album.
Right. But then they made this song Domino for the album, and it was like, for this album, so it was like an actual song that no one had heard of, and Domino is just a great one. I haven't looked up the history, but it's a great song.
I love how
I know there's some sort of history behind it.
It's like a graphite or a charcoal, like noir kind of thing. It's like a black and white. I showed it on screen for a little bit, and then you got you got your pompadour. You got the messy beehive.
Like a skull on the lower right.
You got a fedora, man. You got a rat with sunglasses. What more do you fucking want?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
so it's like if you're driving down the highway in your Cadillac, you start bumping this.
And with that being
give us a countdown.
3, 2, 1, play it. Okay, a little quiet intro. 8 seconds in. No volume yet. Oh, my shit's paused. I'm gonna rewind it.
Wait, restart. Let's restart. All right. Rad. Cut
Way to
this
go.
part. Cut, print, check the gate. Moving on.
I'm not cutting that out. It's staying in. Fuck editing.
Okay.
All right.
Fuck
3,
it.
2, 1, go. People have to know we fuck up too, Toad. Looks like you're jacking off over there. Country vibes already.
And here comes Ivy.
So good.
Love it.
Swift guitar for you. A country song. I'm sure there was a little bit of a shock when people first heard this band, not knowing how to feel about it.
Right, yeah. And I still think a lot of people don't consider them in the punk scene, you know? Which, I don't know. Right? As we're here, like, criticizing. Again with that primitive drumming.
Love it.
Everybody gets behind it, you know?
I love how it's not oversaturated. Like, it's very simple to hear. It's so complex in what they're adding together.
Right.
Way more interesting to listen to than a Misfits. Lyrically and musically, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Lyrics in this compared to an Eagles Dare. Where I turned into a march and W's better.
Right when you think it ends.
It reminds me of Fugazi with that awesome wave
Right.
song where they just stop and you're like, what the fuck, and then it just goes right back in.
The Hives do that as well.
Actually, I don't know.
I love doing that. Yeah.
We're not going to give you an encore. Or are we? Multiple times a show. That's actually really good.
Good stuff.
And
it's good. It's almost like an actual like rock song too. It's
Right.
like it's
a
very
good gateway
very
into
good.
the harder punk stuff for people who
Yeah.
are like, don't want to suddenly jump into like, like a star
Right.
fucking hipsters. It's just like, how's this?
Or like listening to 500 channels by Choking Victim.
Right.
You know?
Infested by leftover crack. Or choking victim. I mean, choose your poison. Almost the same.
Yeah, right. Choking Victim, man.
So yeah, dude. Great
They're all
choice
great.
on that. I love how clean it is too. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where the primitive drumming is definitely a staple of the Cramps. And you pick two songs
Right.
that really amplify that, really show that. The singing style too. He plays a lot
Very
with his
unique.
range.
Yeah.
A lot
Oh,
with
yeah, and
tone,
it-
too.
It's a very like a country-esque vibe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they even say that in the first song that we played. He's like half hillbilly and half punk rock. And that's what he's combining there, mixed with his other love for Ramones and the
So for
the
the
Beach
people
Boys.
who don't consider this punk rock, but they consider the Ramones punk rock, it's like, how can you like?
Right, I
what
don't know.
elements of this do you not think meet that criteria. It's
Right.
I don't get it.
It's interesting. I mean, they were even like they were on Epitaph Records, dude. Like that's what more punk rock you want, dude? You know?
All right.
Yeah.
They
All
started their own
right.
label. Dumb shit. But yeah, like definitely solid
but
in every aspect. And
I
then,
also thought it would lead into a nicer the Cramps, because I know you wanted to pick this next band.
yes.
You know, it's kind of like the darker scene.
So
I
the
love it.
next band on our show today, it's gonna be TSOL, or True Sounds of Liberty. And we're going with one of their more famous CDs, Weathered Statues. Now, it's one of their first albums. It might actually be their very first one. I don't fucking remember. I know it's the first one that I heard when I was introduced to TSOL. And funny thing about playing the bass is one of the songs I'm covering today was the first bass line I ever learned how to play. And the reason I picked that one, not only because, nostalgia and whatever, but it also shows their range. So we're going to start with one of their more played tracks on the album, Weathered Statues. We're going to deal with Abolish Government / Silent Majority. They roll right into each other, so we're just going to play them both. It's going to be the first one on YouTube. So 2 minutes. Let me know when you have that pulled up, Mr. Toad.
Audiences have declared.
Oh,
I swear to God,
Got
this
it.
stupid rock movie where he's a superhero. I keep getting these fucking watch Black Adam. Like, I don't want to.
oh my
Fuck.
god.
Leave me alone.
That's just that villain was shit. All right,
Sure,
I'm
not
ready whenever
muted
you are,
this
sir.
time. All right, 3, 2, 1. Play the music. Immediately back. This is the second song, third song on the album. It started with
Abolish government. There's nothing to forget about God. He's on anything. We live by a system of perfect laws. Perfect people who are poor and old. Lives were spent on the bad who understands 24, nothing in the
What's Crash? Definitely California sound. Definitely sound like an Agent Orange inspired band.
America,
Right.
land of the free, free to the power of the people in uniform.
Transition. There's that
People are
tribal
fun, you
drumming.
just can't see. Cities in the boot camps, in much more. If you
Military
come back, you
executed.
get nothing more. Struggle for land, for country, for freedom. All you mighty people in some
It's a very
Wake up to the same old shit.
I want to say it's like a very skate punk, like
Some people, they don't like your hair.
So interesting.
Buddies, they just don't care. Snipers,
Right.
they wanna be. Drive your side, your enemy. Wake up, son of majority.
Definitely angry. So it's
The government, they
Right.
don't want us here. You folks can't feel that
It really
fear.
feels like Dead
People walk the
Kennedys
streets today.
were inspired by
People
TSO
walk
in
in
some
your
ways.
own way. People think that I'm crazy.
Right.
These people
You know,
just can't see. Wake up, son of majority.
That was the phrase that the Ravens used a lot. They're like another quiet place people in America. So it's funny how they rolled that in for
Live your life, day by day, doing everything that they say. Silence, majority. Promote freedom, let it be heard. Don't forget that it's only a word. Silence, majority. Wake you gotta wake up.
Okay, so 2 minutes, 2 songs. Very normal for the punk scene. You have a lot condensed into a very short amount of
Right.
time. Lyrically, very dense. Musically, very interesting. You have the drummer who's able to take a basic rock beat, roll that into a more complex military-esque ta-ta-ta-ta-ta kind of thing, and
Yeah.
then roll that into another thing seamlessly. Bass player constantly fucking going off on this thing. It's just, there's so much going on. I think that's probably one of the main hangups with people who don't like this music or don't get into this genre is it takes you a while to listen to something and break down each individual aspect.
Right.
And what it feels like when it comes to
Yeah, for
popular
sure.
music, people don't want to do that anymore. People just want to hear a bass line and they want to dance to it.
Yeah.
Or some bullshit like
Right.
that, which is,
And this was the time too. Like, I mean, TSOL is like they're still embedded in the like DIY punk scene. Like, especially if you go all over like Austin, they love them there. It's like even in Portland, like when I was like hanging out over there in the bar scenes, and Dave Dichter with his band MDC, and like those guys, they tour all the time with TSOL, and
this is one of those
the
bands
Verukers.
where if you see people with leather jackets and you look at patches, I guarantee it won't take you long before you find a TSOL patch because they're so influential.
Right.
They've been in the scene forever.
They're huge. The hardcore punk scene and
they play forever. And
yeah,
even their name's a fucking protest. True Sounds of Liberty. So
right.
every aspect of their music is in defiance of something, whether it be the government or the law, speed limits, you name it.
Right.
So rolling into our next song, I chose this one not only because it's the first bass line I learned how to play, but it's also, it shows their range because it's not that angry anti-government stuff. This one's like a little punk rock love song.
Yeah.
One of those things. So
Everybody has one.
everybody has one. And if you say you don't, you're a fucking liar. So I'm going to pull it up. And whenever you're ready, Toad, we will begin what it is.
I'm ready to go.
Oh, I have a goddamn ad. This is why listening to music on
How did I
YouTube-
know that was coming? I was about to say, don't worry about those ads.
You have to
watch out for the ads.
Oh, the ass or the ads. It won't let me skip it. I have to wait 5 more seconds. God damn it. Stealing music was better with Napster. Okay. Let me know when
And
you're
this
ready.
this song,
Oh, go
this song, if I don't remember, like the bass line is just so
Oh,
great.
it's
I
awesome.
love the bass line.
And the cool thing about this bass line is, so I got into, like, obviously, if you've been listening to this shit, I'm really a big fan of the surf / skate music. So
Yeah.
I actually took this bass line and I modified it. I made it like a surfy kind of one. Maybe one day I'll bust out my bass and I'll play it for you guys on the show, and you can ridicule me for my fingering techniques. I know my wife gives me shit for my fingering techniques, but whatever.
We'll have you record it, and then we'll like play it back, and we'll criticize it.
So it'll be like, I'll write lyrics to it, and then he's just gonna put a bunch of farts. Now your line sucks. All right, let me know when you're ready.
It'll be great. I'm good. I'm good to go.
Right.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. Play that shit. Immediately, great bass line. We'll
Right.
slide to the second open and then close.
I used to love her a long time ago when things were fine. Now
Some
that's
guitar
not
too.
so. I'm sifting through dark clouds with the
Yeah.
silver line, and then I'm always searching, but I'm never finding. Look through my eyes and tell me what you see. I'm empty
Almost like a
inside,
ska
but that's
guitar.
no part of me. Is
Yeah.
listening to rumors and believing lies.
Well, he's not
That
doing the
bothers
muted
me
downstroke.
searching, but it's never finding. Now I've met another, and she's just the same. She fools around, and she plays the game. I'm so tired of losing the game she's playing. I'm so tired of losing, but my heart keeps on playing. She says she loves me, my friend says she don't. I'm so confused, don't know which way to go. I'm back to the dark clouds that pursue the night.
Hear a little Paul Simon in that bass
But
line.
I'm never finding.
The lyrical breaks are really well timed. They don't overpower it with too much guitar to distort the note, so they don't have to highlight it because the guitar's that talented.
I used to love her a long time ago when things were fine. Now that's not so. I'm sifting through dark clouds of the
Yeah.
silver line, and then I'm always searching, but I'm never finding. Look through my eyes and tell me what you see. I'm empty
Sounds like he turned his mic
inside,
down
but
right there, too.
me.
Have the different mics. It sounds like it's too
Rumors and believing lies. That bothers
Right.
me searching, and I'm never finding.
Little slides. Tap playing. A lot of different elements.
All over the place.
Pretty
All love it though. It's really well put together.
He's going from slides to tapping to goddamn ads on YouTube. He's going to all sorts of things back and forth. Like as soon as that song ended, it went into like a fucking progressive ad. It's like, no, stop.
Oh
like,
man.
Yeah, musically very interesting.
That is the world we live in.
And it's so cool,
Right?
Because T.S.O.L. they're
Man,
featured in some.
I hear a
like,
lot of
shit.
like Clash second album vibes on that
Yes.
one, dude.
Yes.
You know,
like even
very
with
like
London Calling, that's like dong dong,
Mhm.
dong, 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 like how they're
Yeah.
able to walk like
with the.
it's very
yeah, they're very.
It sounds like
Yeah.
usually there's a muted downstroke and then they're playing the
Mhm.
upstroke unmuted. It sounds like he's just completely taking away that muted downstroke and he's just playing the ups,
Right.
playing the ups constantly. He's doing it very, very, very effectively. It's a very interesting
Right.
song. And then it's funny how he's able to do those muted ups down. No, sorry, he's playing those unmuted upstrokes, going into like these solos, and then able to tap right out of that very cleanly, like a very smooth
Right.
transition from like, oh, I'm soloing up now, I'm gonna tap. And like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? It almost sounds like there's a second guitarist on there fucking around.
Right. Yeah, no, it's amazing. The musicianship we find in these songs, man, is just crazy. And like we were saying all along, like a
was
lot
this
of people
close to
just
pissing you
don't
off.
see.
I was this close to
What?
picking their Clockwork Orange one with like that 20-minute song, "Live in a world
Mm.
of my own creation." Like, you sit through, like,
Dude,
20
go ahead.
minutes of
I'm all
that.
for it. It'd be great.
That would be fun if we just had like we did a whole album review, which we totally could do that, or like we do a
We could.
theme. So for the next,
There's 20-minute albums, dude.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely, like the majority of them are. I mean, it's very rare you'll find a punk CD that's like like an hour, unless you're finding a best of,
Right.
and even then, it's like it's the best of. I mean,
I think maybe next week or next episode we'll have to do a theme. That'd be cool.
do you want to put on our fedoras
should
and
the
do
theme be?
Ska Week, or do you want to you want to shave your heads and put on some Doc Martens and do Oi Week, or do you want to do Girls Week? We can do all sorts of shit.
Bubblegum pop.
Oh, we could totally do bubblegum. We could do sugar punk. We could do all sorts of shit. We could
All right,
do-
man.
we
Well,
could do
we'll figure it
obscure
out.
punk.
This
we could
is
do like blats and just make our ears bleed. Go to sleep.
yeah. You just do like the really shitty punk,
Or we could
like
do England.
stuff that everybody
we can do
hates.
England. We can do England as a whole,
Ooh.
or Australia,
Or the New York scene,
or the New York scene.
or Australia.
I mean, we've
Yeah.
covered a lot of California bands.
Dude, even Japan scene, dude. Japan has a
Ooh.
cool scene.
we could do Mexico. Even Mexico's got some fucking
Yeah,
good
Mexico's got
fucking-
some rad ones too.
Mexicali.
Even like
punk,
the
too.
yeah, I was gonna say Mexicali. Yeah.
Are we- like,
Um,
there's so many themes we could go down. What we should do is we should just write a bunch of themes into a hat and then just pull one out. Or we should have one of those like randomizers.
we'll do some polls.
Yeah, some
We'll
polls.
do some polls on the
Right.
socials.
So if you listen, we only have like 3 viewers, so you have a lot of say in what we're gonna do next.
Yeah, you guys have a lot to say.
Mostly
Silver, I
all
know
of
you're
it.
listening.
Get your nose out of that smelling salt and vote. Go out
You
there and
fuck.
rock the vote, you piece of shit. Other than that, Toad, are you ready to go play some Marauders?
Yeah, I think I am.
All right,
I think
everybody.
the homies 6 is already in there.
Well, this has been.
Well, it was
American
real. It was fun, but it
Punkcast.
wasn't real fun. So let's let's get on to the next episode.
You're just like Bilbo. I mean, you're yeah. It was it was Bilbo. Yeah, at that part, he was like, I like half of you more than I like, and half of you suck dick.
And I like less than you, and I like less than you half as well as you deserve. Yeah, I know.
So
yeah.
for our 1.5 viewers who we've insulted, sorry. For the other half, go fuck yourself. And with that, we'll catch
It's like
you next time.
1.5 of our viewers.
Man, we got so high. We talked about Lord
All right,
of the
love you
Rings way
guys.
too much on this episode.
I love it, dude. I'm actually, dude, I'm ordering a glass Gandalf church warden
This is
so that I
why-
could smoke weed out of it.